Alright guys, welcome to Schmattz Outdoors. Same script as usual. We're just getting ready to go here. I didn't really have a lot to get ready. Last night I was just about out of both Predator Bait and Predator Bait Plus, two of the baits I use for coyotes. So the little bit I had left, I just put in the top of a full jar. So my bag has got 2 full jars in there now. Otherwise I could have made like one set with each one and that would have been it. I'd have run out. And then I'd have had to be fiddling around on the line to get a new jar and all that ready to go. So I did that last night. I got that in my bag. I made sure I had plenty of urine and peat moss already in my thing. So on the line, I don't have to be trying to fill my peat moss container, and then I haven't been bringing my gallon of urine with, so all I got is just what's in my bottle. So I want to make sure my bottle's full. So I did all that last night before I went in. This morning I didn't do a whole lot. I grabbed a 280. So I got my 280 right here. I grabbed an actual H stand for it, but I actually grabbed, and I don't know how well they're gonna work, but I grabbed a couple sticks. Part of what I found with like my H stands, especially, it's happened a few times on beaver. You know, even I'll get a nice head catch on a beaver, but my H stand holds those traps so securely that when they start wiggling on there, it actually will rub the fur a little bit. Well, if I happen to do catch an otter, I definitely do not want that to happen. So what I'm hoping is maybe I can not even use my H stand and just use the sticks to kind of help prop it up into place. That way, if I do happen to catch something, you know, it may be able to actually flop and move the trap around. You know, if the trap's secure in one spot, there's a chance they're gonna rub. If the trap will move with the animal, there's a lot less chance that, you know, the trap's gonna be rubbing back and forth on their fur. I even thought about to stabilize it using a couple of these gray fence posts. And that maybe they're flexible enough that like if something really started thrashing, that, you know, they could flex them out of the way and get the trap, you know, kind of off of them. The only thing I thought maybe with those, if I use those, is when I put them into the bottom, I'm not going to hammer them in halfway into the ground. Either I want them almost completely flush with the trap just so they're, you know, the same height as the trap so the trap can go up off the top of them, or I want them just so they're hardly in the ground. So if I would, you know, I want them enough so they'll hold the trap, but not so much that if I catch something, they couldn't just knock them over. And I think that may be what I'll do, but we're gonna take 3 options with me. Like I said, I want to make sure that they could get out of the stand, the H stand. The H stand will be the last resort for me there. Like I said, just because there's no wiggle room. I didn't realize till right now though that my 280s do not have swivels on them, so I'm not thrilled about that, but I can't really put one on right now, so we're gonna leave it the way it is and go put it in there. If I do put it in the H stand, the swivel won't matter because they won't be able to get it off the H stand. So like I said, we'll just kind of see what the rocks and stuff that are in front of that culvert will let me even get in there, so, and where I can actually get my trap set. The nice thing is, like I said, it's a little bit bigger trap, so I should be able to set it a little better so it's, you know, maybe half in, half out of the water. Otherwise, yeah, that's all I threw in. I didn't really do much last night other than got my coyote bag kind of refreshed and ready to go. So we're gonna get out on the line, hopefully be a somewhat quick run through the line today. I don't know that I'm gonna add any more sets. If I do, it'll be very minimal, let's put it that way. Probably no coyote sets added today. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's get out on the line. Wow, guys, is all I can say. I am I'm easily halfway, if not more, through my line. And I finally got my first catch here. We'll get out and show you, but I've had 2 muskrat sets set off, one 110 and 1 foothold with nothing in them. The foothold was still on the bracket, so I kind of think maybe the ice tripped it off. I knew that was going to be a risk. I busted the ice around them, but as the wind started opening back up, if chunks started floating, they could set my 110s off. So I had one 110 set off in one foothold so far, which is not good. I don't know. I thought maybe with open water, they'd be moving around. The wind is blowing pretty good right now. It's probably blowing like good 15, if not more. It's not that warm either. I mean, it's 40 plus degrees, which is nice from what it has been, but not as warm as I thought it was going to get. And it's cloudy today, which is making it super hard to check the sets. If it's sunny, I can see my traps still standing on, like my footholds especially, I can still see them setting on the stands. Today, because it's cloudy and the wave is just enough, I'm still having to walk out. They're real close to, well, maybe halfway out to most of them, so I can see whether or not they're set off or not. Yeah, I'm going to apologize for the wind in advance here. Like I said, we'll get out and we'll show you what we got here. It's not what I want to have. And yeah, it's going to take me a bit to get him out of here. And then get this reset. The set didn't really work as I'd hoped. I kind of just doing a maintenance on these two chaps because I kind of thought that, I should have had a catch before now on these. And I'll get out and I'll kind of show you what I got here. And then, so I apologize for the wind in advance, like I said. Alright, so what do I got is just this chunk of grass on the corner here. I had sets here last year as well, but it's like 100-yard square. Normally I only put one set right on the corner here, and I have them on drowning wires. Or not slide wires, I guess, not really drowning wires. So the animal will slide back out into the grass here. And what I did is right here's my slide wire. I just put a fence post next to it with the thinking that if something gets caught, it's going to come by and knock this over. And then, and it's staked right there. So I figured, well, with the pole close enough, they're going to knock this over, especially a coyote or a raccoon or anything is going to be big enough. And there's one over here as well. But I got a flat set right here that looks like it's been monkeyed with just a little bit, and I might fix it just a little. But then right over here, and I'm downwind of him, which I don't want to be here, I got myself like a baby skunk. That is by far the smallest one I've caught all year. Caught in a coyote set. I don't even think he's probably big enough to, obviously, you can see the catch circle here. I don't mind the catch circle, honestly. Otherwise, if they slide down, the catch circle's out there. So all the smell's over there, but yet my set's over here. So, but yeah, there's the first catch of the day. We have this conversation, I think, a couple times every year. But so if this is the only thing I catch, does it count as getting skunked? But I did catch something, so now I'm not skunked. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a philosopher, so like I said, we'll get this guy out of here and get the set remade, and we'll get moved on. I did add yesterday, out in the middle of this section out here, there's this tractor driving. Out over this way by the big rock pile, I put a couple coyote sets in yesterday, so maybe first day I'll have something out there. So, but I tell you what, it's been an unbelievably slow day today. The syringe pull on skunks is not 100%, I found out, and I already knew that, but I've been doing really good even on the giant skunks. Even when they're standoffish and got their tail all puffed up, I've been able to inject them without spraying. That little guy, I tell you what, I think he sprayed at least 4 different times, and I finally got him dispatched. He was laying there nice and calm when I videoed him, but as soon as I got my syringe pull, so I just get it close so they can kind of sniff it or whatever, man, he just stood up and he just sprayed like a shower. Luckily, the wind's pretty strong and I was like sideways to him, so I don't think I got any on me. But like I said, it ended up, I think he sprayed at least 4 times, but I think I showed you this little slough yesterday, so it goes that way along the road ditch here. I think I had a muskrat in the 110 yesterday, but my foothold is set off, and I finally got a decent catch today. First muskrat of the day. I cannot believe it's taken this long. I mean, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through the line to finally put the first actual like decent fur animal in the truck. So we'll get this guy out of here, get it remade. Hopefully we got a few more catches for you. Well guys, maybe I just need to wait till the last quarter of my line. I'm not making huge numbers of catches, but I do have another catch here. So I just wanted to show you what I got. So this is like, I don't know, a 2-foot culvert, but it sticks way out to here. Right here I had a 220 in here, and this is my otter set. And then I kind of made a channel through the cattails here, and then I added some blocking off on this side, which I'm gonna probably do a little better again now. But this is the one where I'm gonna put the 280. So I got my 280, my H-stand, my sticks. We're gonna try and get that in here, but I do actually have a catch in my 220. I see, and I could see his tail, fluffy tail, floating right here. You guys might know what that is, but that looks like a pretty good sized mink. Maybe not the biggest one, I don't know. I think it is a female, but I got myself a mink. So I think I got 11 mink boxes out right now, and I've caught 3 mink this year already, which is just stupid numbers for me. I don't catch mink, you know, typically. 1 every other year I catch, on average, roughly. And now I got 3 this year, but not 1 has been in my mink set. So we're gonna get this guy out of here. Like I said, I had the H-stand in there, but we're gonna try and go right here and put that 280. Either that, I may end up trying to put it in over there, but I'm gonna try and get it right here first if I can. And then we're just gonna use some of this sweet clover here to make, all I had was this stuff was just kind of setting up like that. Just basically trying to funnel him into my trap here. So I caught a muskrat here the first day. Yesterday it was set off. And now today I got a mink. So apparently it's a pretty good spot. So we're, like I said, we're gonna put a little bigger trap here. I want to catch an otter here, not muskrats and mink, but all right guys, so I do have another catch here. We'll quick show you what I got. Definitely not what I want. So what I have is just a 220 right there, and I got myself a skunk cod in there. Doesn't look like a very big one. I can't smell him, so maybe he didn't spray, but he was coming from where I have my beaver sets and stuff. I have a couple muskrat sets over here. I had a muskrat in there yesterday. And then I have my floating beaver set here, which the wind is not being too favorable for. It probably needs to be re-lured, but I'm not going to re-lure it until the wind goes down a little bit and switches direction. Because if I re-lure it now, it's just going to wash right back off again. My mink box looks like it's full of foam. Right here is my beaver caster mount set, but again, I think it's being kind of washed out too. And over here, we got another catch though. Unfortunately, he's half in the water. So what I had is, right here I had a 220, and I got myself a nice raccoon in there. Like I said, unfortunately he's all wet because he's getting splashed on, but hopefully that did what it was supposed to do, or it did do what it was supposed to do. I have these 220s on either side of these sets, trying to stop these animals from getting into my caster set over there. Because it seems like you make a perfect caster mount set, you show up the next day, you got a raccoon caught in it, like I did here the first day. So all right, we'll get these 2 out of here and we'll move on. Well guys, we got ourselves a first night out catch. Yesterday I put a couple coyote sets. So what there is, there's a drainage ditch, and then there's a field bridge, access bridge, so they can get to this field over here. Yeah, last year this was dry. I ended up snaring a coyote in the bottom, and then I've been putting a set on that side, and then I put another one kind of over on this side. So this is the northwest corner. This is the southeast corner, and pretty much it covers me for every wind direction. The only thing I didn't like this year is it almost looked like there was trails coming up out of the water down here right up to this corner. And I thought about even putting a 220 in there, but then I gotta almost drive exactly where my truck is parked here just so I can see that 220. So I want to stay away from my coyote sets a little bit. You know, I don't want to necessarily drive right up to them every day, so I didn't want to do that, and maybe I should have, because I got myself a nice great big raccoon in here. It must be the year of no tails, because I'm pretty sure this guy does not have a tail. Yeah, he's just got a little stump too. So I don't know, looks like a nice big boar. I mean, I'm guessing he's in the mid-20s for weight. So he really destroyed the set. There was like a nice like clay berm right there, and then all these weeds were growing on the backside of it. This is actually one of the nicest looking coyote sets I made. You know, you make the best looking coyote set you can, and that's what happens. I don't know. We'll get this guy out of there, and we'll remake this set and move on. We're down. I got one coyote set after this, and about, I don't know, 10 muskrat sets. So we're getting close to the end of the line here. Again, apparently the last quarter of the line here is where all the fur was at, because I didn't catch nothing on the first 3 quarters. So, all right. All right, guys, so I'm down in our pasture here. I mean, it's just a big draw. I have a coyote set kind of right below these big trees, and then another one around the corner. I didn't have this one here. I only put it here like every other year, it seems like. It's kind of a pain to check, a pain to get to. But I think I could check it okay this year, so we're gonna leave it here. I don't know, I've never caught a coyote here out of all the years I've had it. I even moved it over right where this straw comes out. I had in the bottom of that one year. I've never caught a coyote here. I've caught some skunks and raccoons and whatever else, but never a coyote here. That's pretty fresh digging right there, which I'm not happy about. I'm just looking over here. You know, once in a while you can see there's a this draw flows down. It's got springs in it. It flows and then it runs through this culvert into our water hole for our cattle. But almost looked like a little trail, but I don't think it is. But I do have a catch here. Last trap of the day. I got all the rest of them checked. Let's see. Oh man, he's got my set just absolutely destroyed. Must be the day of small skunks, because he is not very big either. And you can see where my shock spring is. That's where my trap is, where that big hole is. Like this hole right here is where like my dirt hole is, all the way dug over to my trap bed. So it's gonna be very interesting to remake this. We'll do what I can anyway, but we'll get him out of here. Got a skunk right here. Here I thought I was going good. Wasn't gonna catch one. I made it halfway through the line before I got the first one, and I ended up with 3 again today. I think I mentioned earlier I got about 2.5 skunks, or a little over 2 skunks average per day this season so far, which is just bonkers. It's just dumb. I don't want to be catching them, but it is what it is. I got things to do today, but we'll get this guy out of here. We'll get this set remade, and I'll give you the end of the day rundown once I get back to the house. All right, guys, so made her back up the house finally. Didn't take me that long, like maybe 15 minutes total to drive out there, get that skunk taken care of, and come back. I did not realize when I was showing you that he was caught by the back foot. Luckily, I didn't have the issues today that I had the other day. He just kind of laid down his hole, and I was lucky to just get in there, get him jabbed, and get out of there. And I didn't have any issues with him. Went right down. So I got the skunk I caught in a 220, and the one I just caught right there. That first little one, like I said, when I tried to jab him, I mean, I didn't even get close to him and he was spraying already. So I did not bring him home. I probably will not be bringing him home. He's got no essence that I want, and he is gonna stink. So we'll leave him someplace or leave him there, and he don't have to be in my yard stinking up my yard. So but yeah, I'll go through the rest of the catches. So this is the big raccoon. I guess I can flip him over. I think he's actually like a little grayer color or kind of tanner color than he actually would be. I think he's just muddy because it's kind of a clay right there where he was caught. But again, he doesn't have a tail. He just got a little bob. It's completely healed over. That's the third one this year that's been bobtailed. Really, I mean, like short bobtailed and everything. And then this is the one I caught in the 220 down by the slough where the beavers were at. And I noticed I put a little, I used this guy here. I made this guy so I just have 2 loops on the end of a cable, and then this is so I can carry it. So if I have to carry an animal very far, well, what I did is I had that on his front legs and I had him hanging on my garage on one of these nails. So he kind of drip dry and then air dry. And I'll do that again. I'll actually put him back up there when I'm done videoing. But I noticed he only has 1 toenail. So he's got a toenail on this toe, but he's got no toenails on all the rest of them. And to me, it's even like his toes are gone. Let's look at like the front. So just getting this guy flipped around. So you see how that guy's got long, skinny toes. This guy, he has like the crease, but it's all healed together to one big chunk. And the same thing on this one. He's actually got 4 toes because these 2 middle ones are growed together. But he's missing like the last digit on all 4 of those toes. And on his back feet, he's got a claw on that one and a claw on the end one. This one here is probably just missing the claw, and these 2 are real short. And let's see, he's got all 5 claws on that foot. But yeah, that's the weirdest thing. I've never seen something like that. I wonder like if he froze his toes off at some point, or you know, if somebody, I'm about the only person that traps, but if somebody had him in a trap, you'd only have him by 1 foot typically. So I don't know how you would lose all your toes on both your front feet and one of the back, or part of your toes on your one back foot too. So that's kind of an interesting deal, but looks like a nice enough raccoon. You know, he's a little bit smaller than this guy, but he's not that much smaller. And I don't know, I'm disgusted by this catch. 1 big muskrat, but I only got 1. Out of 100 and some sets, like close to 105 sets, I got 1 muskrat. And I relured them all. I had 4 that were set off total, besides the one with the catch in there. So I had 4 more that were tripped off, whether it was ice or waves or, you know, I missed an animal, whatever it happened to be. One of the footholds was set off, still set it hanging there, you know, in the little bracket. That was an ice or something, just a trap fired with nothing, because if there would have been like a miss there, usually it would have knocked it off. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm kind of disgusted by that. I'm gonna have to really do some serious catching in the next few days to make it to 100. I think I'm at roughly 45 right now for the season. I don't know the exact number, but last year that would have been 2 days worth of trapping, and I got a week into trapping, and I got 45 is it. So and then we got the bonus mink again. It is a little female. I think it's actually bigger than the female from the other day, longer than the one from the other day. So it's kind of a funny story there too. So I caught the mink in my, what I call in my otter set. I put a 280 there now. I don't want to be catching a mink in that 280, but if that's what goes through there. But I want to make sure if an otter goes through there, I'll get him. I ended up using my H-stand there because I couldn't really get my, there's some rocks underneath there, and I couldn't really get sticks in the ground. I couldn't get my fiberglass poles really in the ground how I wanted them, but for some reason I could get my H-stand stand there perfectly. So I know my trap's nice and solid now. It's not going to be getting pushed out of the way. If it goes off, the H-stand will help kind of hold the animal there, so it ain't going to be yanking on my chain or trying to twist the chain up. Because I mentioned this morning that trap didn't have any swivels in the chain. I'll be fixing that in the off season. Both of those will have at least one, if not two, swivels in the chain. I'm probably going to do a teardrop thing on the end that the chain hooks to the trap, and then I'll put like a crunch proof on the end, a MB crunch proof swivel on the end. I want to make sure that if I do catch something that they can move around freely and not twist my chain up, because they could, in theory, break your chain and get out. So, and haul your trap off, which I don't want. But yeah, so I got this mink, and just a short distance from there, like a half mile, well, actually the farm that I caught the big raccoon on, I just got out of the, done taking care of that raccoon and was leaving. My phone rings, and it's that farmer. So I thought, okay, he's just wondering, because I normally trap in my little red truck that's down here, and now I'm using my blue truck because that one ain't running right. So I thought, well, maybe he's just wondering, you know, if it was actually me out there. So answer the phone, he's like, asked me if I know what would be killing chickens in his chicken coop. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, it was kind of dark brown. He thought it was a weasel. I'm like, no, a weasel should be almost white. They should be partially white right now, if not completely white. I'm waiting like another week or so here before I put out weasel buzzes, just because I want to make sure they're white, but they probably are white or very close already. He's like, no, it was dark brown. And then I told him, like, a weasel head is only going to be like an inch around. He's like, no, this was way bigger than that. I'm like, well, you probably got a mink in there. So I turned around. I actually drove by his farm, and I turned around, went back. I'm like, I'll go back and look and just see what I can do to see if I can maybe catch a mink around this chicken coop. I have no clue. I am not a mink trapper. I will say that again. I am not a mink trapper. I've got dumb lucky and got 3 this year. 2 in muskrat sets and 1 in what I'm calling an otter set. It's not a typical spot. The otter set, I would say, would be a somewhat typical spot for catching a mink, but the other muskrat sets are not. So, and I have 11 mink boxes out, and I haven't had anything mess with those. So I'm like, all right, I'll come and look. So I get into his yard, hop out, here the mink is in his chicken coop when I pull up and has a chicken by the throat and is dragging it into his chicken coop. And it's a big mink, a big male, I would say, if I had to guess. But I caught this little mink less than a mile from his place. And I caught the second mink the other day, basically on the opposite side of the section from where his house is. So about a mile away. I caught that big male, or that male the other day, the big one. So I've caught 2 mink basically less than a mile from his house, and he still has one in his yard killing his chickens. It had killed 4 last night, and that's why he called me. He's like, you know, just see if I could do anything. And it had 6 more dead today while I was there. And it was like between noon and 1 o'clock when I was there. And the mink was in his chicken coop. I tried to kind of corner him in there, and he ended up getting out. I don't know how he got out per se, but we kind of limited it. So he only, basically, I give him 2 options to get in and out of his chicken coop. And I put a conibear in front of it. I only had one 120, so I put that in front of what I think is the most probable spot that he's going to go in. And I put a 110 stake down in the other spot. Actually, and then on the other side of his chicken coop, I put one more. I don't know if he'll go in there or not, but again, if there's a spot where anything that was bigger than about this big, I made sure I had a trap in front of it. So, and it's a big mink, so I'm surprised he could get out of there, but just the way the chicken fence, he had chicken wire and then had like a pig panel essentially. So the lower rungs are only like 1.5 inches apart, but somehow that mink, that's the only way he could have got out is through that. So he must have been able to squeeze his body through that. So I ended up putting 3 traps there. I grabbed a mink box. I'm gonna skin this muskrat and throw him in there, try and give him something. I don't think chicken's gonna work because he's been eating chicken. he's been killing the chickens. He has not been eating them. That's the worst part. He's been basically like tearing the throat out of them and not eating them, which I think is typical mink and weasel behavior. So tomorrow, I think the gentleman has cats around his farm place, and he doesn't want to kill his cats. So in my mink box tomorrow, I'm not going to actually put a conibear in there. I'm not putting a 120. I have my 120 like right up against the fence, his little fence he's got around the fence of his chicken coop. So the cats shouldn't bother there. But for this baited box, I don't want to have a killing trap in there because I don't want to kill his cats. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and block it off the best I can and just put a 1.5 in there, or maybe even 2 1.5s. Just kind of, so if he tries to go in there at all, there's no chance he can get in there without setting one off. And hopefully if he sets one, he maybe gets caught in both. So I'm going to use this muskrat as bait. I know a lot of guys actually use muskrat for mink boxes. They probably might work better than the chicken legs that I'm using in my mink boxes now, but they rot really quickly. They start stinking really bad. I feel like you got to keep like fresh bait in there, and like the chicken legs seem like, I don't know, they don't seem like they rot and smell like what a dead muskrat does in your box. So, but yeah, so that's kind of an interesting development. So if I catch said mink in any of those traps I set, one, that farmer is going to be very happy, and two, that would be the first on-purpose mink I've caught this year. So, and yeah, that would actually be, 3 is the most mink I've ever caught in one season. I've caught 3 now this year, and I caught 3 2 years ago. So if I catch that one, that would be a all-time personal best on mink in a season. And I still got all my mink boxes out, so you never know what could happen. But all right, I just want to thank you guys for watching. I'll be out there again tomorrow. Tomorrow is the start of deer season, so things are going to probably be run a little bit goofy on my line. I mean, I'll try to show you the spots. We'll see if I won't start right away in the morning. I'm going to go deer hunting in the morning. Our gun season starts, so I'm going to go gun hunting for deer in the morning for a short period of time. I'll have to kind of decide how long I want to go. We'll see how well the family does, whether or not I come back here or if I just start checking my line. I'm actually thinking about wearing my waders and then putting all my blaze orange over the top of it. So once I'm done deer hunting, I can basically just peel my orange off and start going. I'll be wearing a blaze orange vest and probably either a stocking cap or a baseball cap, a blaze orange stocking cap or baseball cap. And that's for my own protection. I really don't have, I have like one spot really that's by somebody else deer hunting, and that's where I caught that little, I call it a pup coyote the other morning 2 days ago. The last coyote I caught was right there. So I will have to kind of determine, I want to check that one probably in the middle of the day if I can. We'll kind of see how my line runs. Or if I go deer hunting and I end up coming home, I'll quick run in and check those on my way back to the house, or shortly right after I leave to go check the rest of my traps. I'll check that. But otherwise, so I'm trying to like be cautious of the deer hunters. I don't want to be driving right up to the thing, you know, right at sunrise. You know, they're not going to probably be too happy with me. So all right, that's all I know for today. Like I said, all I'm adding today is just that mink box in here. So once I get done skinning everything, I'm basically done for the night. I'll get this mink and the muskrat probably both skinned and fleshed. We'll just see how much time I have if I get the 2 raccoons done. And I'm not going to mess with the skunks tonight. I just did 5 yesterday, so I forgot. I will just give you a quick update on this guy. So this is my beaver skinning rack. If you guys haven't watched my video, basically I showed last night I had my beaver in there. This thing worked very well. You can see it got a little blood on it, which I expected because beavers tend to bleed a little bit when you skin them. Or how I skin them, they typically bleed up around the head and the neck. It worked very well. I didn't have any trouble fighting 60-pound beaver last night. I got him all split open, took the caster out of him, flipped him on the side, skinned half. The only thing with that, even that big a beaver, he stuck out a ways past the end. I needed to kind of watch when I was pulling my fur down to like skin around like the legs. I ended up like bumping into this, but my fur was laid over it. So I couldn't really tell that I was right there because my fur was covering it up. And I kind of bumped my knife right into that. It didn't cut the hide luckily, but it cut like all the fat off of the hide. Like it skinned it right down to the hide. When I bumped into that, running my knife, I just and it just stopped when I hit the wood. So just something I need to be careful of the next time. I probably should have rolled him a little bit more, but I was just about done with the side I was on. So, and yeah, I skinned basically one half of him, then I flipped him, turned the whole thing 180 degrees and skinned the other half. It worked very well. Like I said, I'm very pleased with it. So it worked on that 60-pound beaver. I think any beaver I catch, I'm going to throw on there. See the small ones, if they do try to fall through there, we'll see kind of how that works. But, and by small one, I'm talking like 15-pounders. A 15-pounder I can kind of manhandle with no trouble. It's when you get these big guys, that's when it just beats me up so bad to skin them. It probably took me half the time to skin that beaver with this rack is what it normally would had I been trying to fight him on the table. And as soon as you get blood on your table, then they want to slide around because I got plexiglass on my table. So as soon as it gets a little blood, it just makes it slippery. This thing never moved. It was rock solid on my table the entire time. And then actually, so I did one side, his tail was this way, so I did one half. I flipped it around so his head was over here. Once I got the other half down, I basically could work from here, let the hide hang off the end with his head, and then kind of skin around his head, cut his ears and all that stuff with it hanging. This thing was nice and solid. It didn't want to slide off. I was putting pretty good pressure on it, to kind of pull everything tight, and the thing stayed right on the table nice and everything. So I'm very happy with that. It took a little bit of doing to get the thing built because I didn't really have plans or anything, that I built it off of. Just had a couple pictures is all I did. So I'm very happy with that. All right, that's enough rambling for right now. I appreciate you guys watching.